successfully represented over 10,000 clients. Call 904-507-4777. That's 904-507-4777. Or visit jdavidtaxlaw.com to schedule a no-cost consultation.
When considering a fresh look for the exterior of your home, the first and only choice should be with Kohler Homes. We're locally owned and operated with over 40 years of experience in window replacement, doors, siding, and exterior painting. Don't be rushed into a contract by a pushy competitor with a pretty discount. Take your time. Consult with us first. We offer financing options with 0 down and 0 payments for up to 24 months. And the culture here hasn't changed. We're about honesty, integrity, and fair pricing. Call us for all your exterior needs at 580-3777 or visit us online at KohlerHomesInc.com.
This 1010XL 92.5 FM hour is powered by Anajar and Levine Accident Attorneys. Call 904-600-4000. That's 904-600-4000. The sports world keeps spinning and the local conversation continues. Now, Hacker After Dark on 1010XL.
And a very good Tuesday evening to you, Jacksonville. It is Hacker After Dark, 1010XL and 92.5 FM. With Dylan Denmark, the Hacker Ryan Green with you. Glad you are with us. Our late night edition. We're 8 to 10 every night, except Tuesdays. We're with you 10 to midnight, and boy, Denmark and I get after it tonight. If you have missed a Tuesday night show in the past, get ready for just some pure entertainment tonight all the way up until the midnight hour. We got a lot to do, a lot to get into. Here is a look at the guest lineup coming up for you this evening on Hacker After Dark. Coming up in about a half an hour, about 10:30, 10:35 or so, former Jacksonville Jaguar tight end Clay Harbor is going to join the program. Always love talking Jaguar football with Clay Harbor, particularly now. Clay Harbor played for Doug Peterson when Peterson was an assistant coach. Clay Harbor was also on rosters where he was coached by Jim Bob Cooter and Mike Caldwell on the defensive side of the ball. So because of all the hires that have been made, Clay Harbor knows a lot of these coaches here in Jacksonville. So we'll talk about the Jaguars, who reported training camp on Sunday. They are on the practice field in less than a week for their first training camp practice. Clay Harbor is going to join us at 10:30. At 11:15, Mia O'Brien of XL Primetime. We'll go to SEC Media Days, talk about day number 2 up there in Atlanta, and also preview episode 2, The Book of Bo, which comes out on the 1010XL social media platforms Friday morning at 9 a.m. Also in the 11 o'clock hour, my friend Aaron Wilson, who covers the National Football League for Pro Football Network. He will join us in the 11 o'clock hour, not only to look at the Jacksonville Jaguars. Aaron is based in Houston, so we'll take a look around the AFC South with the Texans, the Titans, and the Colts. And we may sneak in a 1010XL replay. They're doing great work out there at SEC Media Days. Maybe Shane Beamer, the head coach of the South Carolina Gamecocks, who recently came into Duval County and got a commitment from a very, very good linebacker out there at Jackson High School. Grayson Howard, a very solid player. So we will get a lot deeper into that coming up in just a moment. We'll also keep you updated on the Major League Baseball All-Star Game, the American League, a 3-2 lead over the National League. Denmark, what are we in here? The 6th, it looks like? 6th inning for the AL and the NL. So. Yeah, so the AL up by 1. We will keep you updated every night here on Hacker After Dark. To kick things off, we start it with a big deal of the night. And Dylan Denmark, let's do that right now.
Time now for the big deal of the night.
What's the big deal? What is the big deal?
No big deal.
It is a big deal.
On Hacker After Dark.
Day 2 of the Southeastern Conference Media Days, or otherwise could be referred to as Nick Saban Day. I love the scheduling, the way they do this at SEC Media Days. They bring Alabama in with Vanderbilt, Mississippi State, and South Carolina.
That wasn't planned.
That is just terrific. That is absolutely terrific. You got Florida and Georgia tomorrow against each other. I think Tennessee and Texas A&M and Auburn perhaps are all on the same day. But let's put Alabama in the morning with Vanderbilt. Boy, imagine Clark Lee, the head coach of Vandy, having to go up there after Nick Saban addressed the SEC media for about a half an hour. Said some interesting things. Look, what I thought was pretty telling, to be honest. is what he said on the SEC Network. And as a guy that's covered recruiting for many years with 1010XL, with Gridiron Now back in the day, Nick Saban goes on the SEC Network this morning and says, yeah, I'm feeling great. Year 26 for him as a college football head coach. He's entering year 16 at Alabama. Says he feels wonderful, and he wants to get that message out there because other coaches are telling every recruit that'll listen that he's going to retire in the next 2 or 3 years. Well, of course they are. I've heard that time and time again. Once a coach hits about 65 years of age, that's what all the opposing teams will tell all these recruits. Why on earth would you go play for that coach? He will not be there for your entire college career. He will be gone 2 years later, a year later. And Nick Saban, using his platform today, said, I'm not going anywhere. I feel great. The health is great. I've never been happier. Let's do this. And you look at Alabama, they have 15 returning starters from a team that went to the national championship game last year. They return arguably the best player in college football. He was last year, Bryce Young, the Heisman Trophy winner in 2021. They return arguably the best defensive player in America, in Will Anderson on the defensive line, who had 17 and a half sacks for Alabama last year. So Alabama looks like it is going to be a runaway with them in the SEC West. Auburn, Brian Harson's on the hot seat. A&M is good, but they're young. All those 5 stars they got, well, they're true freshmen. How many true freshmen are going to come in and make a big impact in year number 1? You might have 1, maybe 2. All 8 of those 5 stars aren't going to make an impact. So A&M is still probably a year away from really being able to compete with Alabama. Although I know A&M won the game last year, Alabama still obviously won the division. LSU, they're kind of in rebuild mode, right, with Brian Kelly. I'll tell you this. In conversations I've had with people that cover the Southeastern Conference, the biggest competition for Alabama this year in the West will not be LSU, will not be A&M, and won't be Auburn. I've heard more Arkansas conversation about being the second best team in the West than I've heard anybody else. And what I love about Arkansas, and Denmark, we start looking at Labor Day weekend, right? We look at Georgia, Oregon. We look at Florida and Utah. We look at Florida State, LSU. It's going to be awesome. That Arkansas-Cincinnati game on Labor Day weekend, kind of under the radar a little bit, but man alive, I love that. Cincinnati coming off a playoff berth. Arkansas thinks they have one of the better teams they've had in probably 15 years. Under the radar, Denmark, but I got to tell you, Arkansas-Cincy, that should be fun Labor Day weekend.
Yeah, in that game in Arkansas?
I don't know where it's at.
I think it's in Arkansas. Then also, too, you mentioned Auburn. Week 2 or 3, Auburn plays Penn State again. Remember that game went all the way down to the wire last year in Happy Valley.
Yeah, look, that's going to be a big game for Auburn. Alabama goes to Texas in week 2 to play Steve Sarkisian. I didn't realize this today. We're 39 days away from the first Saturday of college football. That's when Duquesne and Florida State are going to get it on at Doak S. Campbell Stadium. How about Vanderbilt going to Hawaii on Saturday, August the 27th? Vandy at Hawaii is the first SEC game of the year. That's outstanding.
That's a hell of a vacation.
Oh, my gosh. That's a game Vandy could win. I mean, I don't know. It's tough to go out to Hawaii and win. I can't imagine that plane ride from Nashville, Tennessee to Honolulu. Good grief. But yeah, the SEC football schedule begins with Vanderbilt and Hawaii on Saturday, August the 27th, 39 days from today. Tomorrow's all about Georgia and Florida. They're both in Atlanta for SEC Media Days, day number 3. Thought it was interesting when I looked at ESPN earlier today. Their analytics, they've crunched the numbers. They did their SEC East preview. They are projecting Florida to finish 3rd in the East, behind Georgia and behind Tennessee. When they crunch the numbers, they have Georgia coming out with 10 wins, finishing 10-2. I'd be surprised if Georgia finishes 10-2. Are there 2 games Georgia can lose on their schedule? Look, I'm not going to be the one that says Georgia's got an easy path because eventually they're going to run into Alabama. But Georgia's regular season, I mean, good grief. In the West, they play Mississippi State, their one constant game with Auburn. And then they play the East. Missouri, Vanderbilt, South Carolina, Kentucky, Tennessee, Florida. It is not a daunting schedule for the Georgia Bulldogs. They get Tennessee at home, I believe. I think they go to Kentucky, if memory serves. That could be a little dicey, but by and large, Georgia's got a pretty easy time of it after the Oregon game on Labor Day weekend.
Yeah, real quick, not to cut you off. Conor O'Gara of Saturday Down South picks Tennessee to not only beat Florida, but also Georgia.
I love that. O'Gara, we have him on all the time. Think he does a great job. I'd be stunned. I would be absolutely stunned if Tennessee... Is that game in Athens?
It's in... I think it's in Tennessee.
No, because the Hail Mary in 2016 was in Athens.
No, yeah, you're right.
So if you go every other year, Tennessee's not going to Georgia and winning. I'd be shocked. I think Tennessee has a very real possibility of beating Florida. But SEC East predictions on ESPN has Tennessee finishing second, has Florida finishing third with a record of 7-5. And Florida fans, I've been telling you that for a couple of weeks now. Kind of wrap your mind around that. Not going to be Napier's fault. I don't blame Billy Napier. But you combine the schedule with the lack of depth Florida has, and I got to tell you, I've talked to too many people that point out the same glaring flaw for the Gators. I've talked to too many analysts, too many former players, too many people in the know in the SEC, and they all tell me the same thing. Florida has a problem in the interior of their defensive line. A problem. Now, Gervin Dexter's a great player, and Dexter's probably going to be in the NFL one day. But after him, they just don't have a lot of experience and don't have a lot of depth. And in the Southeastern Conference, when you win games on the line of scrimmage a majority of the time, it is not good to have problems on the interior of the defensive line. Looking at a view of Florida, Anthony Richardson, looks great. Their running game with Montrell Johnson, the transfer from Louisiana, Naquan Wright, Lorenzo Lingard. They got guys there. There's no question about it. Wide receivers, Justin Shorter, Xavier Henderson, Trent Whittemore. The transfer, right, from Arizona State, Pearsall. They got talent. But when you look at the big uglies on the O-line and the D-line, that's where I begin to have real concerns about Florida because I've heard that from too many people. Let me tell you what ESPN.com has as the burning questions in the East this year. Number one, how does Georgia handle the hangover? Yeah, national champions, 15 guys drafted. That doesn't take into account transfers and graduation. Georgia's returning, I believe, 10 of their 22 starters. A lot of turnover. But as we know, Kirby Smart has been scorching the earth when it comes to recruiting. Other questions entering the SEC East. How long will it take Billy Napier in Gainesville? Fair question. Again, I think Billy Napier, maybe next year in 2024, in a couple of years, I think he's going to be competing for SEC championships. I do not think it's going to be this year. I think Florida's got too much ground to make up. And then where did Tennessee and Kentucky fit in? Tennessee thinks they're going to be good, and I can tell you, I got buddies in Knoxville. I got buddies that are Tennessee alums that have made their homes in Knoxville. And to say that Florida game on September the 24th is circled would be an understatement. They are going to be ready. The Volunteer Navy, the Big Orange Nation, Neyland Stadium, probably at night, they are going to be ready for the Gators. That is going to be a tough tough game for Florida. As far as Kentucky goes, they lost a lot, but Will Levis is considered to be one of the best quarterbacks in the country. And that's so interesting for Florida, opening up at home with Utah and Kentucky right out of the gate. 2 home games in the Swamp at night, both games scheduled for 7 o'clock on ESPN. Florida can't lose 2 home games to start the year, can they? They can't do that, right? They can't lose 2 night games at the Swamp in 7 days.
Real quick, not to cut you off. Remember when Mullen lost to Kentucky in his first year? How everything was up in flames?
Yeah.
Okay, can you imagine what it's going to be like if he loses 2 out of the 3?
Well, I think people had higher expectations for Mullen. I think Gator fans are more realistic this year. Look, Florida went 2-6 in the SEC last year. They did not win a road game. Every SEC team that comes to Gainesville this year beat you last year. Missouri beat you. All right? South Carolina beat you. Kentucky beat you. LSU beat you. Those were all the road games last year. You lost every one of them. You lost 75% of your conference games. You're not just going to snap your finger and have Florida back in the contention for the SEC East. And then finally, one of the big burning questions, Spencer Rattler. This time a year ago, Spencer Rattler was talked about in the Heisman conversation at Oklahoma. He's now taken over for South Carolina and Coach Shane Beamer. Keep in mind, South Carolina beat Florida with a junior college quarterback last year. A junior college quarterback beat the Florida Gators last year. Now they have Spencer Rattler. That's another one. You just don't know. Could Spencer Rattler get South Carolina in the mix to finish second behind Georgia in the SEC East? 641-1010 is the phone number. Excuse me. We are streaming tonight for your viewing pleasure on the 1010XL YouTube channel and on my own personal Twitter at Ryan Green 1010XL. Speaking of South Carolina, Frank Frangie, Matt Hayes, Mia O'Brien, they are up at SEC Media Days. They caught up with South Carolina Gamecock head coach Shane Beamer. We'll bring you that conversation in just a little bit. Hacker After Dark on a Tuesday, our late night edition. In Jacksonville, we're glad you're with us. 1010XL and 92.5 FM.
I'm Mr. Rurik. Let me officially welcome you to
1010XL, where we make sports fantasies happen.
Yes!
Next time you're tempted to speed, think about who's waiting for you at home. On average, 8 people are killed each day in crashes on Florida's roadways, so slow down. Pay attention behind the wheel and help drive roadway fatalities down to 0. Let's get everyone home, Florida. Don't let a fast drive be your last drive. Brought to you by the Florida Department of Transportation.
I'll ring you up in a second. Kim, can you see if we have more acid wash?
Desmona's thrift store is the spot for killer vintage finds.
Oh, that looks fabulous on you. Hey, can you do the register?
But her sales clerk situation feels pretty threadbare.
Oh, yeah, let me clear out that fitting room.
Indeed can help her hire great people fast.
I need Indeed.
Indeed you do. We instantly connect you with quality candidates whose resumes on Indeed match your job description. Earn up to $500 in sponsored job credits by conducting interviews on Indeed. Visit Indeed.com/credit. Terms and conditions apply.
When considering a fresh look for the exterior of your home, the first and only choice should be with Kohler Homes. We're locally owned and operated with over 40 years of experience in window replacement, doors, siding, and exterior painting. Don't be rushed into a contract by a pushy competitor with a pretty discount. Take your time. Consult with us first. We offer financing options with 0 down and 0 payments for up to 24 months. And the culture here hasn't changed. We're about honesty, integrity, and fair pricing. Call us for all your exterior needs at 580-3777 or visit us online at KohlerHomesInc.com.
Hey everybody, Mike Dempsey here for my friends at Dandy Foods. The Thompson family kicking out quality, fresh, and delicious sandwiches every single day. Fresh, as in never frozen. So don't be fooled by signs or labels. Folks, when it comes to grab-and-go sandwiches, if it doesn't say Dandy on the front, it was made somewhere else, stored in the freezer for who knows how long, then shipped into town beside the chicken pot pie. Not exactly fresh. Why not make your next stop at Gate to taste real fresh quality and make yours a Dandy today?
This is head coach Matthew Driscoll from the UNF men's basketball team. When our players suffer an orthopedic injury, Southeast Orthopedic Specialists gets our players back on the court pain-free.
We appreciate the endorsements from our high school and college coaches. This is Dr. Kevin Murphy. The next time you need orthopedic care, you can rely on our team at Southeast Orthopedic Specialists.
Relieve pain and get back to life. Southeast Orthopedic Specialists.
When you owe the IRS and can't pay, call J. David Tax Law for effective tax representation. Never trust your tax problem to a so-called tax resolution company that doesn't employ attorneys. We are a firm of experienced tax attorneys that has successfully represented over 10,000 clients. Call 904-507-4777. That's 904-507-4777. Or visit jdavidtaxlaw.com to schedule a no-cost consultation.
This is Brandon with North Florida Epoxy Floors. Our product gives you a custom high-quality appearance and the longest-lasting finish at a more affordable price. So for your garage, home, or business, research the difference between 100% solids epoxy and the products like polyurea, which can be kinda fishy. Our epoxy includes a moisture vapor barrier, essential in Florida, so your North Florida epoxy floor looks great and is warranted with no fine print. Get a free estimate at northfloridaepoxyfloors.com.
How wide is the moon? The answer coming right up.
It's always a good idea to compare homeowners' insurance rates instead of renewing year in and year out. Log on to southernoak.com and get an instant quote in minutes.
Our family protecting yours. Southern Oak Insurance.
The moon is roughly 2,100 miles wide, about a 3-day drive.
Southern Oak Insurance. Our family protecting yours.
Hey folks, Hicken here for Zero Res. Now that summer's in full swing, so's the front door of our house. Kids constantly coming in and out, bringing in sand from the beach, soil from the yard, all kinds of food. Pretty tough on the carpet, the rugs, the tile, the grout. Good thing July is National Carpet Cleaning Month. To celebrate, Zero Res offering 25% on all carpet cleaning in your home. What a great time to get your carpets cleaned by the very best. Zero Res, man. Spell it forwards or backwards. Zero Res, the right way to clean.
Zero Res. It can strike at any time, but as soon as it does, there's no thinking of anything else. When the bathroom calls ASAP, it could be your prostate health. Schedule your screening with Ackerman Urology today. Call 904-490-7400. AckermanUrology.com.
Attention golfers, Hidden Hills Golf Club has a little bit of something for everyone. So whether you want to practice, play, or just relax with friends at the Hills Grill, Hidden Hills is the place for you. If you love golf as much as we do, check us out at hiddenhillsgc.com.
Get recruiting tips and advice from area coaches, pros, athletes, and their parents. Plus better ways to train as B3 bettors Jerry and Sanders and A.D. Roberts host the Amateur's Edge Show, Saturday from 11 to noon on 1010XL. This 1010XL 92.5 FM hour is powered by Anajar and Levine Accident Attorneys. Call 904-600-4000. That's 904-600-4000. This is Hacker After Dark on 1010XL.
Yes, it is. With it on midnight tonight, 1010XL and 92.5 FM. Former Jaguar tight end Clay Harbor, about 10 minutes away. We'll also go to Atlanta, hear the conversation Frank Frangie and Matt Hayes had earlier today with South Carolina Gamecock head coach Shane Beamer. By the way, I like Shane Beamer a lot. I was watching him at his press conference today, and he's just a likable dude. He did the Soldier Boy video today. He talked about that. That thing got well over 1 million views. It's recruiting 101, man. Absolutely. You do videos like that. Your social media team puts it together. You put the videos out. Recruits see that. They get a chuckle. They live it up a little bit. Shane Beamer gets it, and I like him. I like him a lot, and we'll hear the conversation that he had with Frangie and Matt Hayes coming up in just a moment. But it is report week for the National Football League. The Jaguars are both their rookies and their veterans come in on Sunday, the 24th. We talked yesterday about the Bills and the Raiders rookies reporting they were the first two out of the gate yesterday. There were a ton of rookie classes that reported today. The rookie classes for the Atlanta Falcons, Baltimore Ravens, Los Angeles Chargers, Miami Dolphins, New England Patriots, both New York teams, the Giants and the Jets, all reported to training camp today. And the first whole team is in tomorrow, as the Las Vegas Raiders will report. And I'm actually surprised Jacksonville isn't reporting alongside them. Again, the Jaguars report on Sunday. They play a football game in 11 days at the Hall of Fame game on August the 4th. That would lead me to believe that you might not see a lot of the main guys on the Jaguar team for that Hall of Fame game that you're expecting and counting on here in 2022. But with the offseason officially coming to an end, as training camp for Jacksonville begins on Sunday, every night this week we're kind of taking a look back at the 5 biggest storylines of the offseason. Last night we talked about the coaching search. And my, oh my, what a search it was. 99.9%. It was going to be Byron Leftwich, right? Remember that? Well, it turns out to be Doug Peterson. And to me, that is another of the top 5. No particular order, just the 5 biggest stories of the offseason. And that was the Jaguars hiring Doug Peterson after that very bizarre coaching search. Doug Peterson comes to Jacksonville after a year away from the NFL. 5 years in Philadelphia. Included in there was a 13-3 and a Super Bowl championship. A couple of 9-7s as well. A lot of people haven't mentioned or aren't talking about the fact, and I find it interesting, Doug Peterson replaced Chip Kelly in Philadelphia when things went south for Chip Kelly. High-profile college coach. A little bit of success in Philly. Things go south, he's out. Doug Peterson comes in to pick up the pieces and has a young quarterback to develop in Carson Wentz. Does that sound familiar? High-profile college coach in Urban Meyer. No success whatsoever. That's the difference between the two. He and Chip Kelly. He's out the door. Young quarterback in Trevor Lawrence. Here comes Doug Peterson. So this is not Doug Peterson's first rodeo in replacing a high-profile college guy and inheriting a top 3, top 2 pick at quarterback. Carson Wentz in Philly, Trevor Lawrence here in Jacksonville. Like the parallels. In fact, we're going to have Ari Mirov, My Sports Update. If you follow Twitter, the My Sports Update guy is what he used to be referred to. Guy has almost 600,000 followers. Because he's so good at what he does, Pro Football Focus has hired him. You now hear him as well on his own show on YouTube, the Ari Mirov Show. He's going to join us later in the week. And I wanted to get him on for a couple of reasons, but primarily, he went on his show on Monday, a national show, and he said the best move of the offseason, not the best Jaguar move, the best move of the offseason was bringing Doug Peterson to Jacksonville. Now, I don't know if I would even go that far. I think Devontae Adams to the Raiders, Tyreek Hill to Miami, Russell Wilson to Denver. There were a lot of big moves. And I asked Ari, I said, are you talking about coaching? He said no. The biggest move of the offseason in his mind was bringing Doug Peterson to Jacksonville for what it means for generational talent Trevor Lawrence moving forward. And we'll bring you that conversation later in the week here on Hacker After Dark. But I'm very intrigued, man, very curious to see what Doug Peterson can do. As we know, it did not end well in Philadelphia. He took a year off to kind of recharge the batteries a little bit. And now here we are. He's only 54 years old, still relatively young in head coaching circles. Another chance to develop. He looks motivated. Look, I think after you win a Super Bowl, it's easy to question whether the guy's still motivated. Doug Peterson won a Super Bowl. But because of the way it ended in Philadelphia, because of the negativity surrounding that situation when it ended, maybe he feels he has more to prove. And that would be great here in Jacksonville if he could prove it right here in Duval County. 641-1010 is the phone number on the phone line and on the text line, designed by Lifetime Enclosures. Clay Harbor spent almost 10 years in the National Football League. I think 3 or 4 of those years right here in Jacksonville. Clay Harbor played for Doug Peterson, for Jim Bob Cooter, was on the roster when Mike Caldwell was an assistant coach. He knows all about the coaching staff that's now here in Jacksonville, Florida. We'll talk to Clay Harbor about the Jaguars, get his thoughts on Doug Peterson, and Clay Harbor as a former tight end. I want to ask him flat out, did the Jaguars get a diamond in the rough in Evan Ingram? Everybody's talking about Christian Kirk and Brandon Scherf, Foye Oluokun. I'm talking about Evan Ingram. There's something about that signing that I love, man. I want to talk to another tight end in this league and see if I'm off base. We'll talk to Clay Harbor about all that next on Hacker After Dark.
Wonder what Rick Ballou would be doing if he wasn't on 1010XL?
Doing my job to the best of my ability on a daily basis.
Rick Ballou.
I work here.
Evenings.
I carry a badge.
On 1010XL.
Here's Linda Beaver.
Have you ever regretted buying a car? Is the idea of shopping at a dealership scary? We want you to know that you don't have to feel that way, and I promise that Beaver Toyota and Beaver Chevrolet will provide the wow experience and peace of mind you deserve. We believe that taking care of our team, our customers, and our community is more important than anything. So give us the chance to earn your business and join our 50,000 plus and counting wowed customers. You won't regret it. See you at Beaver Toyota in St. Augustine or Beaver Chevrolet in Jacksonville. We're going to wow ya.
Get recruiting tips and advice from area coaches, pros, athletes, and their parents. Plus better ways to train as B3 bettors Jaron Sanders and A.D. Roberts host the Amateur's Edge Show. Saturday from 11 to noon on 1010XL.
Mia O'Brien here. Have you seen the duck around town? No, not just any duck. I'm talking about Duck Duck Rooter. In just 3 years, they've grown into one of the largest plumbing and septic companies in Florida. And their hardworking team is based right here in Jacksonville, FLA. From septic tank pump outs, septic inspections, drain field installations, sump pump repair, they do it all. And they are the only master septic contractor on the First Coast. So when you're stuck, call the Duck, 904-862-6769.
You know what's great about getting older? The toys are way cooler. Spring is here, and it's playtime. Yeah! And One-to-One Financial, Jacksonville's hometown credit union, has slash loan rates across the board on all the toys. Motorcycles, jet skis, boats, RVs, ATVs, even golf carts. And it's fun and potentially dangerous. One-to-One Financial is the perfect loan to help you finance it. Check out our rock bottom rates and apply now at one-to-onefcu.org. Come out and play. Federally insured by NCUA.
Keeping your body healthy and active leads to a more vibrant life. A great place to do that is the First Coast YMCA. The Y is equipped with state-of-the-art cardio and strength equipment, plus group exercise studios where trainers host activities like yoga, Zumba, and cycling sessions. The full-court basketball gym and indoor 5-lane swimming pool are open year-round. The Kid Zone can keep an eye on your kids while you work on that dad bod. And it's all available with your family membership. Learn more at fcymca.org.
Wholesale prices, premium service, Tire Outlet.
Captain Kevin Favor here, and this summer, go further with Tire Outlet. Visit them online at any of their 13 locations in Northeast Florida to shop their top flagship brands like Kumo and Yokohama. Let them find the right fit for you. Visit TireOutlet.com to find your store today.
Wholesale prices, premium service, Tire Outlet.
Do you suffer from mild to moderate high blood pressure? Should you be taking medication but are currently not on anything? Or maybe taking medication but unsatisfied with the results? If so, CNS Healthcare invites you to take part in a clinical research study for mild to moderate hypertension at no cost. Qualified participants may receive reimbursements for study procedures and travel. For your no-cost study assessment, call CNS Healthcare at 904-281-5757 or visit cnshealthcare.com for more on this mild to moderate hypertension research study.
This is Hayes Carlyon for Kingfish Pest Control, a local family-owned business that specializes in pest, termites, mosquito, and rodent prevention. I tell you what, when I got my new home, I had to put on my reporter's hat Find out who really is the best, and it turns out there's no competition. Kingfish provides exceptional service and treats me like a valued customer, not just an account. That's why I wholeheartedly recommend Kingfish Pest Control, proud partner of the Jacksonville Jaguars.
Tailgaters Parking presents The Henpecked Husband.
I want you to go over to Tailgaters Parking today.
Why, dear?
Want to buy 5 more tailgate spaces for this season and only at Tailgaters Parking.
Yes, dear.
It's right across the street from the stadium.
Yes, dear.
Tailgaters is the best place to tailgate before, during, and after every game.
I know, dear.
They've got a covered pavilion, assigned spaces, clean restrooms, and a full bar and restaurant.
Yes, dear. You're always right, dear.
TailgatersParking.com.
Thinking about a graduate degree? Consider Webster University. Enrolling now for MBA degrees with several areas of emphasis to fit your career goals. Earn your degree completely online or in person one night each week at the local campus. Webster University is a military-friendly, nonprofit university. They accept VA benefits, employer tuition assistance, and financial aid. You've waited long enough. Apply today at webster.edu. Webster University, an accredited degree that fits your lifestyle.
Mark Watson to tell you about hardballcreative.com. It's kind of like a place on the internet where you can shop for products to put your company logo on. Actually, that's exactly what it is. hardballcreative.com.
Hardball Creative. Hardball does it all.
This date in sports history is brought to you by Southeast Orthopedic Specialists.
On July 19, 1964, in the PGA Championship Men's Golf, Bobby Nichols wins his only major title by 3 strokes over Jack Nicklaus and Arnold Palmer.
This 1010XL 92.5 FM hour is powered by Anajar and Levine Accident Attorneys. Call 904-600-4000. That's 904-600-4000. Hacker After Dark on 1010XL. Now, hello. Another great guest on the Farah and Farah phone line. Brought to you by the Accident Attorneys at Farah and Farah.
Back here on 1010XL and 92.5 FM in the city of Jacksonville. We are glad you are with us. The middle of July has arrived. We are inside of 2 weeks before Doug Peterson will hold his first training camp as head coach of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Let's talk to a man that wore a Jacksonville Jaguar uniform. Also, let's talk to a man that played for Doug Peterson when he was an assistant in Philadelphia. That, of course, is Clay Harbor, always kind enough to join us here on 1010XL in Jacksonville. Clay, how you doing?
I'm doing great, Ryan. I appreciate you having me on. Love talking Jags, love talking ball, so looking forward to it.
Hey, Clay, always appreciate the conversation. We haven't had you on since the draft. I know we previewed the draft with you, and then come to find out Travon Walker, Devin Lloyd, a couple of defensive guys in round number 1. Clay, what was your reaction to it then and in the months that have followed? Do you like the picks of both Walker and Lloyd?
You know, I do like the picks. You know, at first I was on the Aiden Hutchinson bandwagon, or I thought that we could use a tackle. For me, I didn't think our offensive line was set. It seems like they're doing a good job, but I saw that, Andrew Norwell left, AJ Cann left, Linder retired. I know we got Sheriff, and I wanted to really solidify the offensive line for Trevor to protect him. You can't have a great quarterback without having a great offensive line. You really need to protect them. And I know we also drafted Luke Fortner in the 3rd round, and I think Shatley is a good, solid player, and we still got Juwan Taylor in there, and Ben Barsh, who started 11 games at right guard. We'll switch to left guard. But so for me, it was, do we want to tackle? And then is Travon Walker the best outside linebacker edge available? And I wasn't sure, looking at the numbers and everything you do. But everything I heard coming out of Jags camp is that Travon Walker, he's an athletic beast. He was the first pick for a reason. He's big, he's long, and what I have heard and what I like is that he's willing to work. You see him, he's working out with, Rasheem Mathis. He's doing all the things he needs to do, and everybody says he looks the part. So I'm more open to it. And I really did like the pick with Lloyd, because I honestly thought he was the best linebacker in the draft. I know PFF loved him. He's a big guy on their draft board. He was ranked 15th. They got a steal. He's only 23. He was a junior. He's 6'3", 240. You don't see that often as a linebacker, and I love that size. I think he can really be stout against the run, and he's athletic enough to defend the pass. He can guard a tight end, and that's something that I think is really important.
Clay Harbor played 9 years in the National Football League, some of which right here in Jacksonville, and he's always kind enough to join us here on 1010XL Radio. Clay, you mentioned Jawan Taylor. You as a guy that spent almost a decade in the league, Jawan Taylor is a guy that all offseason has heard about Walker Little and the battle they're going to have at right tackle. This is also a contract year for Jawan Taylor. In your experience, how motivated do you think Taylor will be coming into 2022?
I think he'll be really motivated. He knows that this is a huge year for him, contract year. He's got someone to push him. Walker Little, he knows the criticism he got last year, and you got new coaching staff in there, so it's an opportunity for him to make a name for himself, to really be viewed in a different light than he was viewed before. So I think it's a big year for him. I hope he does well. Last year I think he was ranked as like the 69th tackle, and you think about it, there's 64 tackles that start. So, that's not a good number, for him to be starting and have this opportunity. It's a great opportunity for him to show what he can do in a new offense with a new coach who knows how to help tackles. He knows how. Doug's not going to leave him out on an island. He knows you have to chip when you have to chip. He knows, slide protection. He knows when you're going to need a big defensive end or edge rusher, when you're going to need help. So he's not going to be put on an island. Doug's not going to do that. So he's going to have an opportunity to have a really successful year if he can win this job.
Clay, you and I talked a few months ago when Doug Peterson took the job here. For people that either have forgotten or that missed that conversation, you played for Doug Peterson when he was an assistant, now obviously a head coach with a Super Bowl ring. As a former player, how excited are you that Doug Peterson is here in Jacksonville? And, boy, how night and day do you think it's going to be from what happened last year with Urban Meyer?
It's great. I played with Doug Peterson. I also played with Mike Caldwell as a linebacker coach for a few years as well. So I love both those guys. Our defensive coordinator played with Jim Bob Cooter, one of the offensive assistants. But I think Doug is a perfect fit for Jacksonville. Obviously, I played in Jacks for 3 years. I played with Doug for 3 years. I think it's a great fit. He's an offensive mind, and he brought in a lot of offensive minds too. You got Jim Bob Cooter, as I said. You got Press Taylor. You got a lot of good offensive minds that are going to help Trevor and help this offense. And obviously, you spend, you go on that spending spree and you spend all that money on free agency to help the team. You spend $155 million in guaranteed money, signing their first 7 free agents. That's pretty incredible, and that shows that they are ready and they really want to take this step. So I think that's huge. And hearing some of the stories last year, about Coach Urban Meyer and how sometimes a coach doesn't realize that there's a big difference from college to NFL. And he treated the program like a college program. And Doug is a NFL coach through and through. He was on staff with Andy Reid, my head coach for a number of years, and he was a quarterbacks coach there. And Doug is just an easygoing guy that understands you're dealing with grown men. You're not dealing with kids anymore. You have to give them this level of responsibility, but also be a leader. You're not being, this all-controlling leader. You're working with them. They're not working for you. And that's how Doug has been successful, and I think that's how he was able to win a Super Bowl.
Clay, in your 9 years in the National Football League, you saw a lot of quarterbacks, certainly, and you caught passes from a lot of quarterbacks. What did you see out of Trevor last year? And even more so than that, moving into year 2, we're starting to see the added leadership role that he's beginning to take on as well. What's your thought on Trevor coming into this season?
It's really hard. It's really hard to be a leader as a rookie, okay? You're getting drafted. You're getting thrown right into OTAs. You don't have a chance to learn anything. You're not there for the entire offseason. Honestly, it's almost impossible to be a leader because you barely know anybody. You don't know the guys. You break bread with people, get to know your offensive linemen, your receivers, and really connect with them. So leadership roles of rookies out of the question. So it makes it difficult when you're a quarterback because you want your quarterback to be the leader of your team. From everything I'm hearing and seeing, Trevor is making that big step in his second season. Now the guys have seen that he comes in there week in, week out, even going through tough times, only winning 3 games, 8-game losing streak, throwing 17 interceptions as a rookie. He has a short memory. That's one of the biggest things I love about Trevor Lawrence. He'll go out there and he'll throw a pick and he'll come back slinging. That's what you need in a quarterback. You don't want a quarterback that's going to be scared to make a mistake. And obviously there was a lot of mistakes made last year, but I think those are going to be improved on. And not only in the aspect because Trevor's got this extra year to be a leader. People look up to him. People trust him. You got Doug Peterson, Super Bowl winning coach, guy who's been in this league for 30 years, from back to his playing games, his coaching days. And now you got Trevor that's going to improve. So he gets this OTAs, offseason with the guys, and this is a chance for him to really step up and really show what he can do. He didn't have that last year. So I'm really excited for the second season. He got a full offseason with Doug. You got Press Taylor, Mike McCoy, Jim Bob Cooter. You got a great offensive staff. So I think it's really looking good for them. I really do like Mike Caldwell as the coordinator as well. I think there's some good things coming here.
A couple of more for former Jaguar tight end Clay Harbor. Speaking of the tight end position, Clay, it's a position you know very well. Evan Ingram here in Jacksonville. I remember talking to you when they signed Evan, and I got to tell you, as the weeks have turned into months, I'm getting more and more excited about the idea of Evan Ingram on a 1-year, quote-unquote, prove-it deal here. I saw that he got engaged over the weekend. I think it was toxic for him in New York with some of the conversations I've had with Giants media members. The classic change of scenery. I got a really good feeling that Evan Ingram might be pretty good in a Jaguar uniform. Clay, what's your thought on him?
I like Evan Ingram. I think he's an athletic guy. He was a first-round draft pick for a reason. The guy runs a 4.4, 4.5 40. He's a really athletic player. I think he's got to improve on his hands, his consistency. I think that he will be more focused here. He knows, hey, this is a second chance. This is a 1-year prove-it deal. He knows this year will make his career. If he doesn't do it now, when's he going to have another shot to be a first-team tight end if he doesn't have a big year in this system? And I do also like Dan Arnold, who caught 28 passes in 8 games after that in-season trade and before suffering that knee injury and going on the COVID list. I think both tight ends will play. And will be huge for Trevor to have 2 tight end sets. And a guy like Ingram, you call in 2 tight end sets, so maybe you bring in another linebacker as a defense. And then Ingram, he can play in the slot. He's athletic enough to play in the slot. He's comfortable out there. So it'll really give a lot of versatility as an offense to be able to run him off bounds. Maybe you'll get a linebacker out in space having to cover Evan Ingram in the slot. That's something you want. That's a mismatch. So I think Evan gives them a lot of chances to do different things. You can do 2 tight end set, 3 tight end set, and have him in the slot, him in the backfield, maybe as a fullback and H-back and move guy to do a lot of different things. He's not your typical tight end that you have to put at the end of the line of scrimmage. So I really like this Evan Ingram move. And like you said, he's on a 1-year prove-it deal. He's got to do it now. I think he's focused and ready to go.
Clay, from the tight end position, we know Doug Peterson loves Zach Ertz and Dallas Goedert in Philadelphia. Not saying that Ingram and Arnold will be that, but is that at least the idea, to have Ingram and Arnold the Jacksonville version of what Doug had in Philly with Ertz and Goddard?
I think that's what he's thinking. Doug knows you got to have a guy down the seam that can stretch the same and put stress on defenses. Obviously, you signed Christian Kirk and Zay Jones for a reason. And those guys are, you're expecting them to have big seasons. And I like the wide receiver core here. I think Marvin Jones, I think, Chenault, Treadwell are guys that can play. And I think you got a solid wide receiver core, but now you need someone inside that can put some stress on the line, safeties, and the defense. So I think it's all going to work together. It's a symbiotic relationship here. And it's going to give Trevor a lot of opportunities to get the ball downfield and to really be efficient. So I'm excited to see how this works and excited to see what happens in training camp and all the position battles. And I want to see how Ingram and Arnold work together. I think they're going to be a great 2 tight end duo that will resemble what Doug had in Goddard and Ertz.
Final moments here with former Jaguar tight end Clay Harbor. Clay, final question. The Jaguars won 4 games in 2 years, all right? So to say that they're better now, well, of course, it would be hard to get much worse. How much better, though, Clay, when they left that field on January 9th, ironically, when they beat Indianapolis, to where we are now in the middle of July, 6 months later? How much better do you feel the team is?
I think they're much better. I think offensively, they had to improve the offense that was ranked 27th in the league, and they only had a 3-14 record. I think they appear to be on the move forward after putting the Urban Meyer tenure behind them. He was 2-11, and I think they really did a solid job and not a knockout job in the draft. I think they did a solid job in free agency. I think they could have maybe got some better bargains, but I think they're moving forward. I see them as a team with, we had 3 wins last year. I can see 7, 8, 9 wins, 9 wins being at the very high end. Maybe you sneak in the playoffs there. That's what I'm hoping for. It all depends on what Trevor Lawrence does. You put the offensive line around them. Hopefully they can block, and you got some new receivers and targets, and they're going to go as far as Trevor can take them. And I think that you really you get your running backs back. I think that's going to be something that helps him a lot. Obviously, James Robinson, great running back, had 767 yards last year, averaged 4.7 yards a carry and 8 touchdowns, and missed a few games. You added on Marvin Jones. He almost had 900 yards last year. You got some playmakers on this offense. And then obviously you bring in ETN, who's a first-round draft pick that we didn't get at all. Running game will open a lot of things up for Trevor, and that's why I think you can make such a big change. Usually you'll see maybe 2 win difference, maybe 3. But I think the Jaguars can be a Bengal-type team to where they can go from maybe 3 wins to 9 wins, and that's what I'm hoping for. And you get a new coach in there with a bunch of, offensive-minded guys. I really think that this team is going to improve, but my question is how much and how quickly. I'm hoping we can get up there and 7, 8, 9 wins, and be in the playoff conversation come midseason.
Yeah, you and I are on the same page. I got them at 7-10 right now, which would be a gigantic step forward from where they've been
huge.
In years past. Former Jaguar tight end Clay Harbor. Clay, thank you for the time, man. Really appreciate it. Let's do it again as we approach the regular season here in a couple of months.
Absolutely, Ryan. Appreciate you having me on.
Draft in the fast groove on 1010XL.
Got a great push from the 12 car.
This Sunday at Pocono Raceway. Brought to you by the Plumbers and Pipe Fitters Local Union 234. From the station with the most horsepower, 1010XL.
Honestly, this is one of the best jobs I've had.
Drivers and mechanics, listen up. Waste Management is now offering a $5,000 new hire bonus to CDL drivers and heavy truck mechanics for job opportunities at our sites in Jacksonville, Green Cove Springs, Callahan, and St. Augustine.
There's so much more to Waste Management than what you think it is.
Waste Management offers steady work, competitive pay, weekly paychecks, opportunities for overtime, paid training, and a generous boot and tool allowance.
Plus industry-leading benefits, like 100% tuition coverage for you and your family, and your home every day.
The benefits were great. They're the best I've seen in a long time.
CDL drivers and heavy truck mechanics apply online today at WM.com/careers. That's WM.com/careers. Search driver and mechanic jobs in Jacksonville, Green Cove Springs, Callahan, and St. Augustine, Florida.
A people-first, military-friendly, equal opportunity employer.
We are WM.
Thanks, everyone, for baking your way here on this toasty morning. Are you all ready to jam? Excellent. Before we get rolling, let's start by hashing out everything bagel will be discussing. Profit margins are okay, but they could maybe be butter. Sorry, I don't mean to waffle. Next quarter, it's all or muffin. Did you have a question, Sausage Patty?
My name's Patricia.
When you can't take your mind off breakfast, it matters where you stay. Delicious breakfast available at our Hilton family of brands. Hilton, for the stay.
The Jacksonville Orthopedic Institute is now offering online scheduling for new patient appointments for all of their physicians. Simply schedule your appointment on your cell phone, tablet, or desktop. JOI is the first orthopedic practice in North Florida to offer this feature to patients. To schedule your appointment online, visit joi.net and click on the button at the top of the page. If you'll be using insurance, be sure and have your information handy. JOI, where the pros go.
If you need to add some comfy shade to your outdoor living space, CSS Outdoor has exactly what you need.
Visit their local showroom, check out their pergola gallery online, and schedule your free home estimate.
For the best in outdoor living, that's CSSOutdoor.com.
Tired of the same old places for happy hour? Downtown's best is at Bellwether. It's Tuesday through Saturday from 4 to 7 p.m., with the exception on Friday when happy hour starts at 11 a.m. because why not? For all you late-nighters, Bellwether offers nightcap specials on Friday and Saturday from 10 to midnight. Want a snack with your cocktail? Bellwether has a unique bar food spread. And guess what? All metered parking is free after 6 on weekdays as well as the weekend. That's Bellwether downtown.
When it comes to commercial fence services, Superior Fence and Rail has you covered. If your business needs automatic gates or security fence and railings, trust Superior with your next commercial project. Superior's team delivers great communication, high-quality products, and exceptional customer service. Just read any of their 2,300-plus reviews.
When you're on the fence about a fence, SuperiorFenceandRail.com.
Incubus. Live. July 26th, Daly's Place. One incredible night with Incubus. And very special guest, Sublime with Rome. Incubus. On sale now. Buy tickets online at Ticketmaster.com. Don't miss Incubus. Live.
This is Brandon with North Florida Epoxy Floors. Our product gives you a custom high-quality appearance and the longest-lasting finish at a more affordable price. So for your garage, home, or business, research the difference between 100% solids epoxy and the products like polyurea, which can be kinda fishy. Our epoxy includes a moisture vapor barrier, essential in Florida, so your North Florida epoxy floor looks great and is warranted with no fine print. Get a free estimate at NorthFloridaEpoxyFloors.com.
What is the world's largest freshwater lake? The answer next.
How long has it been since you compared homeowners' insurance rates? Log on to southernoak.com to get an instant quote or find an agent near you.
Our family protecting yours. Southern Oak Insurance.
Lake Superior has enough water to cover North and South America combined. It is the world's largest freshwater lake.
Southern Oak Insurance. Our family protecting yours.
Golf is as popular as ever, and at Hidden Hills Golf Club, we have everything you need to get started with this great game. Our PGA staff can assist you with golf equipment, apparel, lessons, and more, and soon you'll love the game as much as we do. HiddenHillsGC.com.
Every day you hear interesting and insightful conversations from national names on the Farah and Farah phone line.
I insist on complete honesty. If you have something to say to me, I wish you would just say it.
Brought to you by the accident attorneys at Farah and Farah on 1010XL, the flagship station of the Jacksonville Jaguars. WJXL FM Jacksonville Beach. This 1010XL 92.5 FM hour is powered by Anajar and Levine Accident Attorneys. Call 904-600-4000. That's 904-600-4000. Hacker After Dark on 1010XL.
1 hour down, 1 hour to go. Hacker After Dark on a Tuesday, 1010XL, 92.5 FM. The American League holding on to a 3-2 lead over the National League, top of the 8th in Los Angeles, California. We will keep you updated. SEC Media Days, day number 2. It was Alabama, Vanderbilt, Mississippi State, and South Carolina. Earlier today on 1010XL, Frank Frangie and Matt Hayes caught up with South Carolina head coach Shane Beamer. I was certainly impressed by what I heard from Shane Beamer at Media Days. Let's hear what he talked about with the boys today here on 1010XL.
The college football season has officially started. Live from Atlanta, Griffin Service, SEC Football Media Days. This segment is brought to you by Famous Automotive Tire and Quick Lube and Accelerated Tax Solutions on 1010XL.
All right, we welcome you back. Frank Frangie with Matt Hayes. Shane Beamer stops by, the South Carolina coach. How you doing? Good to see you.
Good to see you guys.
Appreciate you coming by.
Yeah, thanks for having me on.
You know what? You look like you're having a ball. and I'm telling you, if last year, this year, all of it, that is really cool. That's my take. Are you having a ball?
I am. I appreciate and am grateful for the opportunity that I have. Like, I get it. It's a high-profile, high-pressure job. But I'm a head football coach in the SEC. Like, I'm not going to let this thing I'm going to have fun and enjoy it. And I get it. If we don't win football games, I get fired. But there's so much good going on. I love talking South Carolina football. I love the players that I coach. I enjoy, believe it or not, the media part of it and talk and getting to know you guys. So I am having a good time. And don't get me wrong, I mean, we had some tough losses last year. It's not like I got a huge smile on my face and that those are great moments, but also realize how blessed I am to be in the position that I'm in.
Shane, you guys, I tell these people this all the time. What you guys did last year, the fact that you won 7 games, and you guys were, I guess the best way to say it is you were challenged offensively last year.
Yeah.
At what point did you think, okay, we've got to completely revamp? And then you go in the offseason, and you did it. You revamped that offense.
Yeah. Good question. You know, for us, it was certainly when I sat here last year at Media Days, I didn't anticipate playing 4 different quarterbacks. I didn't anticipate starting a graduate assistant. That on this day last year was back in the office, probably putting playbooks together, starting the first game for us. So you certainly improvised and adapted as the year went on, and we knew certainly that we needed to increase the experience and depth and competition, not only at the quarterback position, but a lot of positions on offense. And we've been able to do that. We brought in transfers at running back. We brought in transfers at quarterback. We brought in transfers at wide receiver and tight end. And, we had some good players on our offense last year. We just needed more depth and more competition. Competition makes everybody better. And we set out to do that. And that was evident, fairly early on. And that's not a knock on our players. It's just we're all about competition in this program. And we knew we needed more competition all across the board.
Shane Beamer with us, South Carolina coach. Tell us about Spencer Rattler. Tell us how that whole thing kind of came about. Obviously a big-time player in college football.
So I was at Oklahoma with Spencer and had a great relationship with him. And Austin Stogner, Oklahoma's tight end, who I coached. I was the tight ends coach at Oklahoma. Austin went in the portal and knew we needed to add a tight end, and I love everything that Austin's about. So we were able to bring Austin into the program. And during that process, Spencer hadn't made a decision yet. And I'd kind of given Spencer his space a little bit. I knew he was going to take his time and was very thorough. But Austin and his dad mentioned, look, Spencer would have an interest in South Carolina. Like we would like to play together, and there's some interest. You should, really not reach back out because I was, but really let's try and get this done. And talked to him and had conversations. And I had a relationship with Spencer, but Spencer's not going to come to South Carolina if he doesn't believe in what we're doing as a program. Right. And he had to believe in our offensive system. He had to believe in our offensive coaching staff and our ability to develop him as a quarterback. And he believed in all those things and what we're doing and decided to come and has made us better since day one.
Shane, you kind of undersell the offense. You got Christian Beal-Smith from Wake Forest, who's the reason Kenneth Walker went to Michigan State. You got Antoine Wells from James Madison, best FCS wide receiver last year.
Yeah.
You got Corey Rucker from Arkansas State, a really good receiver that not many people know about. You guys are going to be very good on offense this year, potentially.
Yeah, we've got more pieces, and I think we can get more creative. We've got, Josh Vann was our leading receiver last year, and we've added guys like you just said, Juice Wells or Antoine Juice Wells and Corey, and at the tight end position, we can do some different things because we've added more than one tight end to the group. So we've got more players, unique skill sets with all those guys, and certainly we're like no other team, or we're like most other teams in regards to the portal. We're always going to start with high school recruiting, but as you go into that December signing period, you come out of signing period and you say, okay, we didn't get done what we needed to get done at whatever position it may be. Running back for us last year.
Right.
Well, we need to go sign a running back in the transfer portal. Well, here's Christian Beal-Smith, and he believed in what we were doing and joined us. So they're proven players. They're experienced players, and they bring some great leadership to our team also.
Frank Beamer is one of the most respected coaches just about any of us have ever known. And I mean that very sincerely.
Thank you.
And I really mean that. Growing up, watching him, that had to be such an influence on what you wanted to be as the head coach. I've got to believe that.
Yeah, absolutely, without a doubt. And I've been around some great head coaches in my time, but to grow up as his son, to play for him in college and work for him, just took so much from him. And, I think the biggest thing is just the day-to-day consistency that he had, never getting too high, too low, resonated with me, and I would hope people would say the same about me. The way that he treated people. You see some head coaches, you guys have been doing this long enough, they become a head coach, and all of a sudden they drink like the head coach Kool-Aid, and they
so true.
Start treating people differently and acting differently. And Dad's the same way today that he was in 1992 when Virginia Tech won 2 games. I mean, success never changed him, and how he treated people in public or in privately never changed. So those 2 things really resonated on me, and I've been impacted by a lot of coaches, but none more so than him as a coach and as a man.
Has he seen the Soldier Boy dance yet?
I don't know.
You're trending now, you know that, right?
But between my children and my sister and my wife, I'm sure somebody has sent it to him. I've got a bunch of texts and missed calls, so I'm sure one of those will be from him. And he did the what was it, the Harlem Shake or whatever?
Yeah.
That was big.
He did. That's right. He did.
He did that.
That's right.
So we're gonna have to compare his Harlem Shake with mine.
He was the trendsetter. Actually, that was probably 7 or 8 years ago. He did that.
I was coaching with him, but it was early on, so it would have been like, I don't know, 11 or 12, 13, something like that.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's pretty good. But you have to do that now with these kids these days, right?
You do.
You've got to get in that.
Yeah, I mean, you've got to promote your program, and I knew it's shutting down social media, I know, but I knew it was a success as soon as I did it. And I've got text messages from recruits in Jacksonville, Florida, and recruits across the country, upcoming seniors, upcoming juniors that are like, Coach, and then seeing them talk about it on Twitter. So you're impacting those guys. And then, I got a text message on here from Stephon Gilmore, great former player, and they like it as well. So you want people talking about your program. There's a lot of positive buzz about South Carolina right now. So anything that we can do to continue to increase that, we will.
Final thing, and I appreciate your time here.
Yeah.
We're both very close to Steve Spurrier.
Yeah.
Steve and I have been buddies for a long time. He, and you certainly know Steve very well. In fact, I love the RBs. That was phenomenal, by the way. That was freaking phenomenal. And I love the fact that you don't take yourself too serious on that stuff. I think Steve proved you can do it at South Carolina.
Yeah.
I think there was maybe some doubt before that. 3 straight 11-win seasons at South Carolina.
Yeah.
Our jaws dropped.
Yeah.
Was that a big part of laying the foundation for when you were able to get there? A few coaches later, obviously.
Yeah.
Do you feel that way?
Absolutely. Because I was there. My last year was 2010. We played in the SEC championship that year against Auburn. And not only that, we beat number 1 ranked Alabama. We beat Florida down in Gainesville for the winner was going to go to the SEC championship. Right. We beat them in Gainesville that night. We beat Georgia. We beat Tennessee. We beat Clemson. And then I mentioned Alabama. So we did that. And then I see all the resources that we have at South Carolina now that we didn't even have then. Our brand new football facility, brand new indoor facility, stadium improvement. So there's a lot more things that have happened at South Carolina since that time. And we showed that we can do it. Now it's a matter of, for whatever reason, it's slipped the last couple of years, and now it's our job to get it back. But I'm not selling something to recruits that hasn't happened before. Or I'm not talking about, well, back in 1936, we did this. We did it about 10 years ago. And there's no reason at all why we can't get back, and that's what we're working towards each and every day.
Shane Beamer, the South Carolina coach, you're a neat guy, man. I'm rooting for you.
Thank you.
Thanks for stopping by. We appreciate it.
Appreciate you guys having me.
All right.
Good to see you.
Shane Beamer, the football coach at South Carolina.
You know what's interesting about South Carolina? Think about their head coaches over the last 2 decades, right? Lou Holtz, Steve Spurrier, Will Muschamp, and now Shane Beamer, the son of Frank Beamer, the most successful college coach of Virginia Tech and one of the most successful college coaches in recent memory. That's a pretty good lineup of former head coaches. And South Carolina is an interesting team. Look, in the East, we all know it's Georgia's world, and everybody's living in it. Where does Florida factor in? Where does Kentucky and Tennessee factor in? And then what about South Carolina? You talk to a lot of people that cover the league. You see a lot of these preseason magazines that come out. Here are the things that are pretty certain. Vanderbilt and Missouri are going to be bad. That's what everybody says. They're going to be 6th and 7th in the East, and Georgia is going to destroy everybody. But numbers 2, 3, 4, and 5, there is some question there. Who is second in the East? Is it Tennessee? Is it Kentucky? Is it Florida? Or could Spencer Rattler do something at South Carolina to elevate them? You really have the same issue in the West. It appears it's Alabama and everybody else, but who is the biggest competitor to Alabama? Some will tell you Texas A&M. Some will tell you LSU, even though it's Brian Kelly's first year. But I've talked to a lot of people that believe Arkansas and Sam Pittman and quarterback KJ Jefferson could be the biggest threat to Alabama. One thing is for sure, though. As fun as it'll be, as great as the college football season will be, particularly down here in the Southeastern Conference, there would be, I think, a certain level of shock and awe if we get to Atlanta that first Saturday in December and it's not Georgia versus Alabama. If it's not Georgia versus Alabama, something went terribly wrong for either Georgia or Alabama during the regular season. We'll go back to Atlanta. Mia O'Brien here on 1010XL standing by. We'll talk a little SEC Media Days. We'll also talk about the Book of Bo, the Tony Baselli documentary that we've put together here on 1010XL. Episode 2 drops on Friday. Mia O'Brien coming up next. Also Aaron Wilson of Pro Football Network later on in the 11 o'clock hour. Jacksonville, we're glad you're with us. It's 1010XL and 92.5 FM. It's Hacker After Dark.
Intelligent sports talk with an attitude.
She loved
Hey, sorry.
That is awful.
It's at Jack's Beach at J1A.
You got me.
1010XL.
I did mumble one word.
This is your Mad Dad's Update with Chapter President Donald Ford.
We are off the chain again. We had 5 shootings, 2 killed in a matter of hours. It was not just the north side. It was all over. Mayport, south side, west side, north side. Let you know it's not just one part of town. We know they have a sheriff race coming up. We cannot get caught up on that. We as a community have got to say enough is enough. We've got to take a stand and start breaking the code of silence and tell what we know. As always, JSO was not there when the 5 shootings occurred. Hit me on Facebook and tell me what you think.
For information about Mad Dad, go to Mad Dad's Jacksonville Chapter Facebook or MadDad'sJacksonville.com.
Hey gang, Jeff Prosser. Are you feeling the sting of higher interest rates and higher costs? All those credit cards and other loans are costing more and more every month. Inflation makes it worse. Everything else more expensive. But listen, your home can save you right now. Your home value is up, and there's a ton of cash in it that you can access with Loan Pronto. Loan Pronto specializes in zero-cost, cash-out home refi. You can get tens of thousands in as little as 2 weeks, and yes, VA loans are eligible. In fact, with a VA loan, you can access up to 100% of your home's value. Pay off all those high credit cards, other loans, consolidate everything into one super low payment. People who do this usually cut $800 or more from their monthly budget. Even if your home mortgage rate goes up, it's offset by your credit card rate going to zero. Call Loan Pronto now, 999-1508. That's 999-1508. Or loanpronto.com. That's 904-999-1508. Equal housing lender, NMLS 1661781, subject to lender approval.
Hayes Carline here for Griffin Service. Every year, Griffin Cooling and Plumbing sees thousands of families that wait until their AC is broken to address the problem. Imagine waiting until your car dies before you even think of replacing it. It isn't a great experience when your AC stops working and it's 95 outside. This year, if your system is older, consider replacing it before it breaks. It's possible to sleep cool tonight.
Visit griffinservice.com for details. Griffin, the home of the Florida-rated AC.
Life is about choices and the decisions you make. I'm David Robbins with Epstein & Robbins. If you're convicted of a DUI, you'll have to face severe consequences. Walking through the doors of the courthouse or appearing at a bond hearing can be extremely intimidating. Without the right lawyer, you're likely to make the wrong decision. Let our team help you make the right decisions in court. Epstein and Robbins, the right choice.
Epstein and Robbins, fighting for your rights since 1975.
Hayes Carline here for Claude Nolan Cadillac, and guess what? New cars are starting to arrive, ready to be bought off the lot. So take advantage of available luxury SUVs, 2022 XT4, XT5, and the 3-row XT6. Need your car repaired? Claude Nolan has a body shop that can handle all makes and models, from a dent to major damage, and you don't have to go where your insurance company suggests. So get down to Claude Nolan Cadillac today. Tell them Hayes sent you. Begin your lasting relationship. Claude Nolan Cadillac, off JTB and Southside.
Has your energy just felt like it's gone poof lately? It could be low testosterone. Get your oomph back. Schedule a screening today with Ackerman Urology at 904-490-7400 or ackermanurology.com.
Registration is now open for the 1-to-1 Greater Jacksonville Kingfish Tournament. Over $300,000 in cash and prizes available, to include first place fish winning a Contender 25 with twin Yamahas. Tournament payouts up to 20 places large and 20 places aggregate. Of course, there's big cash for prizes for lady anglers too. First place junior angler wins an Ohana 14 with motor and trailer. Register today at kingfishtournament.com.
Garrett Scantling here, sports fans. I'm still feeling great from the treatment and care I received from Dr. Acevedo and Southeast Orthopedic Specialists, where you're treated like a pro.
This is Dr. George Acevedo. Thanks to Garrett Scantling for those nice words. And if you have foot and ankle issues, visit Southeast Orthopedic Specialists today.
Relieve pain and get back to life. SOS. Southeast Orthopedic Specialists.
At Rusty Acres, you don't just get a used Ford, Lincoln, and Mercury auto part. You get someone who can explain how to install it. For a large inventory of used Ford, Lincoln, and Mercury auto parts, call Rusty Acres, 786-1777.
Hey Gator fans, Hayes Carline here. Listen for my summer podcast about how Billy Napier is building back the Gators. We'll talk to players, staff, and Coach Napier about how the Gators get back to glory. This podcast is presented by the personal injury law firm of Harrell & Harrell.
This 1010XL 92.5 FM hour is powered by Anajar and Levine Accident Attorneys. Call 904-600-4000. That's 904-600-4000. It's Hacker After Dark on 1010XL. Now, hello. Another great guest on the Farah and Farah phone line. Brought to you by the Accident Attorneys at Farah and Farah.
Back here on 1010XL and 92.5 FM in the city of Jacksonville. Glad you are with us on a Tuesday night. Day 2, SEC Media Days in the books. It was Alabama, Vanderbilt, Mississippi State, and South Carolina. Let's get the very latest with SEC Media Days as well as our documentary here on 1010XL.com, The Book of Bo. Let's do that with Mia O'Brien of XL Primetime. Mia, how you doing?
Doing fantastic, Hack. How about yourself?
Mia, we are good. Let's get to the Book of Bo in one moment. You're in Atlanta, SEC Media Days. It was Nick Saban Day. Now, normally when this thing is in Hoover, it's like the water parts and, the most incredible scene you'll see in the state of Alabama when Nick Saban walks in that hotel. In the state of Georgia this year, what was the reaction when Saban entered the room?
Yeah, I mean, I will say this. There's obviously not as many Alabama fans here in Atlanta as there usually are, and so that's why we're kind of anticipating a similar scene tomorrow when Kirby Smart arrives, especially after some comments from a few years ago were resurfaced today out of context from Kirby. We'll get to that, I'm sure, here in just a second. But yeah, when Nick Saban arrived, obviously the Alabama contingent was prepared. They were there. There was some colorful costumes, which you can see on our various social channels at the family of networks at 1010XL. But yes, certainly they were still here, although not in quite the same numbers. And Nick was great. I mean, he shook every hand, kissed every baby, signed every autograph. But, as my colleague Matt Hayes put it, our colleague Matt Hayes put it, he seemed a bit humbled at today's event. I will tell you this. I personally saw him as I was getting coffee this morning, speaking with Greg Sankey. I don't think there's any ill will there. I think the Jimbo Fisher beef truly has been squashed. But it wasn't the front and center Nick Saban as I think a lot of folks are used to at SEC Media Days.
Mia, half the teams have come in, 7 so far, 7 remain. What has been the biggest, story or two through the first half of the Media Days?
Yeah, I still think a big one, Hack, is the Brian Kelly experiment. I think he exceeded a lot of people's expectations, both with his transparency and, quite frankly, the energy surrounding the LSU program when he arrived yesterday and kicked off things here at the College Football Hall of Fame. Otherwise, I think the other big story to come out of today didn't even happen in person, but it happened on social media. The Shane Beamer effect, if you may, at South Carolina. We've obviously talked about it at length here in the Jacksonville area because of Grayson Howard, the 4-star out of Andrew Jackson, committing to Shane Beamer's Gamecocks. But that video that he put up of their big hype video of him getting dressed and ready for SEC Media Days, I mean, Sports Illustrated shared it, ESPN reshared it. At the end of the day, as much as you may have questioned Brian Kelly dancing, as much as many will question Shane Beamer doing this hype video, it's going to get clicks. It's going to get recruits. And from the conversations I've had here in Atlanta, that's something that not only are a lot of younger coaches striving to do, but guys like Nick Saban are making calculated decisions like that to say, will this help me get recruits? And so you may think it's kooky. You may think it's something us media types would do and would fall for and no one else would get. But at the end of the day, it's showing that these coaches, regardless of age, relate to the younger generation that are on those platforms.
Yeah, there's no question about it. It's recruiting 101, that's for sure. Mia O'Brien here with us of XL Primetime. SEC Media Days, Day 2 is in the books. All right, Mia, tomorrow, boy, what a day tomorrow is going to be. Both Florida and Georgia will be in Atlanta. Let's begin with the Gators. Billy Napier, Anthony Richardson, Ventrell Miller, I believe Richard Garage as well. What's the expectation for Florida? What are you looking forward to the most?
Man, I got to tell you, Hack, I don't want to say we've been disappointed, but in terms of big-name players, I mean, we had Bryce Young today. He was awesome. You'll see him on the family of networks here at 1010XL as I got to speak with him. You'll see Will Anderson, who many believe is the best defensive player in the country right now. He was great to talk to, but we really haven't had any marquee players. Anthony Richardson, and for what it's worth, our contemporaries over at the SEC Network said they feel like they've kind of ignored and downplayed him this offseason. He is going to walk in tomorrow, and aside from Stetson Bennett, who, yes, also takes center stage tomorrow, he is going to be the biggest name to step into the College Football Hall of Fame this week. I think that does huge things for Florida's exposure and the awareness around Billy Napier's program. And at the end of the day, I said it on the air today on 1010XL, I think that Florida team goes as Anthony Richardson does. If he truly has the breakout campaign that everyone is anticipating, then that Florida team will win 8 games. If he gets hurt, if he does not exceed those expectations, they may be lucky just to make it to a bowl game in Billy Napier's first year because there are so many other question marks around him. And so I'm very curious to see what we get from Anthony. He's obviously a very gregarious young student athlete from my time, interacting with him with our guy Denny Thompson at 6 Points Quarterback Academy. So I'm very much looking forward to Anthony's arrival. And then, of course, I alluded to him. The mailman is also going to be paying a visit here. And I mostly want to see if he has upgraded from a flip phone to an iPhone. But we'll see if Stetson actually did that or if he's still Instagramming off of his iPad.
Yeah, Mia O'Brien of 1010XL. Mia, the Georgia Bulldogs are there as well. You alluded to Kirby Smart and some comments that have resurfaced. You mentioned Stetson Bennett. What are the biggest 2 or 3 things for Georgia tomorrow at SEC Media Days?
Yeah, it's funny that now Kirby's going to have to address this. Like, it was a comment that came out during the pandemic just about how recruiting and trying to socially distance your players and how just, difficult and how much of a toll that is on a coach and on a human being. And he had jokingly said he was going to retire after 2021. Obviously, he didn't know then that Georgia would win the national championship in 2021. And so, of course, somebody was like, well, now it's time to pay the piper and for Kirby to retire and announce his resignation. Obviously, he's not going to do that. He will be in Atlanta on Wednesday with the rest of his contingent. Like I said off the top, Hack, I think we're going to see a similar scene to what so many are used to in Hoover when the SEC Media Days are there, when Nick Saban walks into the room. I think we're going to see that with Kirby. There's a lot of Georgia fans in the city of Atlanta. And obviously, the first national championship in 40-some-odd years, that's a pretty big deal. And so it'll be interesting to see the reception, not only from fans that they get here, at the College Football Hall of Fame, but also from the media itself. There's obviously some Atlanta stations here. We are here representing the city of Jacksonville in Northeast Florida and Southeast Georgia. Not a ton of other Georgia stations, and so I'm very curious to see the national reaction regarding the Bulldogs and how they will respond coming off of a national title.
Well, and to that point, Mia, and I'm curious, when you look at the SEC East, right, it is clearly Georgia and everybody else. Now, they had 15 guys drafted. That doesn't take into account transfers and graduations. So my question has been the entire offseason, I'm curious your thoughts and what you're hearing up there. Is it a compliment to Georgia, or is it an indictment to the rest of the division that it's not even a conversation, that Georgia is going to run away with this thing?
I personally believe it's a credit to Georgia, Hack, because I go back to, in my opinion, the day the Dan Mullen era in Gainesville ended. It happened in Jacksonville at the cocktail party when on opposite sides of TIAA Bank Field, Dan Mullen said, we're not talking about recruiting. It's October. And Kirby Smart said, you always got to be recruiting. That was the day that the distinction was made, that Georgia was here for the long haul. This was not a flash in the pan, in my estimation, because the pipeline is not dry. I mean, many people will tell you that Nolan Smith and Jalen Carter are two probably of the best players in the entire country, let alone two of the best players on that national championship roster a year ago. Yes, there's going to be questions around Stetson. There always is. But for whatever the reason, he's their guy until proven otherwise. And if he's your weakest link, I mean, I hate to say it, Hack, but I know another team that went to an AFC championship game with a all-star defense and a question mark at quarterback. And yeah, it was only 1 year, but it worked out pretty okay for them that season.
It'll be a big day tomorrow in Atlanta, Florida, and Georgia. Day 3 of SEC Media Days, and, of course, 1010XL will be there to capture it all. All right, Mia, as we're wrapping things up with Mia O'Brien, Episode 1, The Book of Bo, came out on Monday. Boy, I got to tell you, I hadn't seen hardly any of the – I saw the trailer, and that was it. I went in not knowing what to expect. I thought it was great. I was blown away by episode number 1, talking about Tony Baselli there in the state of Colorado growing up. The interviews you guys got for that thing were nuts. Episode 2 drops this Friday. First off, kudos to everybody, including you, involved for putting that thing together. What can we expect with Episode 2?
Hey, I appreciate it, Hack. Thank you so much for those compliments. That means a lot. It's obviously been a labor of love, as you can imagine, for myself, Graham Marsh, Dan Hicken, and everyone involved. And so we really appreciate it first and foremost. I have to ask, did you watch or did you listen to it as a podcast? That's the first question I asked everybody.
No, I watched. I was sitting here in my living room, put it on the big screen, and watched all 19 minutes of it.
I love it. Well, get ready because Episode 2 is 28 minutes. I officially sent it off. To the printer on Monday afternoon. I can tell you this: Episode 3 is already script is printed and ready to rumble. So you can expect that next Monday, and then Episode 4 the following Friday. And also, I hate to say it, but we kind of jumped around a little bit. Episode 5 officially penned last night in my hotel room in Atlanta, Georgia. So yeah, it's been quite a process, but we are so glad with the reception that everybody has, on all the kind words and everything else and the outpouring of support for this project. And I know the Baselli family appreciates it as well. Yeah, California is where we're headed this weekend, and California knows how to party. There's your teaser for what to expect in Episode 2 of The Book of Bo. This one features some of my favorite anecdotes I've maybe ever been told in an interview. I think this is one that if you didn't watch on YouTube or Facebook the first episode, you're going to want to watch this one because the facial expressions, the stories are just out of this world, and it's one you're not going to want to miss.
Absolutely love it. Episode 2, The Book of Bo, Friday, 9 a.m., wherever you find your podcast. Also the 1010XL YouTube, 1010XL Facebook, 1010XL Twitter. It'll be all over the place. Mia O'Brien. Mia, leave us with this. We mentioned Florida and Georgia tomorrow in Atlanta. What can we expect? I would imagine Billy Napier on 1010XL, hopefully Kirby Smart on 1010XL. What else can people look forward to?
Yes, I can tell you that we definitively, and hopefully things don't change. Things are kind of fluid here in Atlanta, but as of now, we are expected to get Kirby Smart on XL Primetime between 12 and 1 p.m. tomorrow. We are also expecting Billy Napier at some point. The University of Florida team and contingent does not meet the media until the afternoon session. Georgia will be in the morning. And so we do anticipate the dogs earlier before we hit the Gators. So the Gators will probably be more featured on the Frangie Show from 3 to 6 p.m., but we will have all your coverage on 1010XL, 92.5 FM, on terrestrial radio, as well as on all of our platforms. We are videotaping all of our big interviews, and so you can check them out at our YouTube page as well as Facebook. And we got some fun TikToks in the work. I'm not a big TikToker. Are you a TikToker, Hack? I'm trying to become one.
I got to say, I'm not really a TikToker, Mia, no.
Okay. Well, we're working on, I'm going to change. We're all going to become TikTokers. Bryce Young taught me some TikTok tricks today, and I think Anthony Richardson's going to help me out tomorrow. So, yeah, we're going to have some fun. So make sure you are following us on all your various platforms.
That's good stuff. Mia O'Brien, you get her every day on XL Primetime. Mia, thank you for the time. We appreciate it. We'll talk soon.
Thanks, Hack. Appreciate you.
Jacksonville Sports, Island in the Sun. 1010XL. Here's your 1010XL First Coast Community Calendar.
If you'd like to work part-time for the Jumbo Shrimp, attend their hiring event at 1-to-1 Financial Ballpark, Wednesday, July 27th, from 4 to 7.
The learning experience in Nocatee is raising funds for the Make-A-Wish Foundation, and the Jacksonville Sharks will donate $5 for every ticket sold. Learn more at jacksharks.com.
The Creeks Athletic Association in St. Johns County offers a variety of sports for children 5 to 18. Learn how to get your child involved at caaleague.org.
You can play in the golf tournament benefiting the Derek Hatcher Foundation, combating the disease of addiction, August 13th at Eagle Landing Golf Club. Register at derekhatcherfoundation.org.
Builders Care is looking for volunteers, and there are so many ways you can help. Find out how at builderscare.org.
If you're involved in a community event and you'd like us to help spread the word, find out how at 1010XL.com.
Hey everybody, Mike Dempsey here for Pella Windows and Doors. These intense summer storms are a good reminder to visit the Pella showroom on Phillips Highway. Check out Pella's new Hurricane Shield and Defender series. These amazing windows exceed all coastal requirements for storm protection. Seriously, they can withstand the impact of a 2x4 shot out of a cannon at 50 feet per second. You want quality, style, and protection? Visit PellaJacks.com and the showroom on Phillips Highway right next to Tesla. That's Pella Windows and Doors.
Hi, this is Travis Cummings of the Bailey Group, and I specialize in working with medium and large companies to ensure their employees get the best benefits possible.
This is John Gall from Borland Groover, and our job is to provide exceptional care for our patients, and Travis Cummings from the Bailey Group has the same goal: provide exceptional benefits and coverage for everyone at Borland Group.
Businesses on the First Coast. Call me, Travis Cummings, at 461-1800, and I'll make sure your employees are well taken care of.
Hi everybody, Mike Dempsey here for Underdog Fantasy, the easiest place to play fantasy football. Draft your team with no in-season management, get the optimal score from your team each week of the season, and have a shot at over $10 million in total prize money in Underdog's Best Ball Mania 3 contest. Head to UnderdogFantasy.com or the App Store now, sign up with the promo code 1010XL, and Underdog is going to match your first deposit up to $100. Again, Underdog Fantasy, sign up with promo code 1010XL and draft your Best Ball Mania 3 team today.
Hey, this is Ken with Fifth Element Adjusting. Let my team and I ensure your insurance claim is settled properly. We even helped Jeff Prosser get his roof replaced in 2016.
Thank goodness I had Ken Lawler and his team help me navigate the claim process. They did everything for me, filed it, scheduled it, completed it, and established a settlement. I got my damaged property replaced and got back to my life.
So call Fifth Element Adjusting or visit FEAClaims.com. If you're happy with the outcome of your claim, Fifth Element Adjusting will not be able to help you. Ken Lawler, DFS number P213199.
When getting the job done right is job one. You need construction equipment that's built right. From compact track loaders to the world's #1 selling compact excavator, the Kubota construction lineup features durable Kubota engines, more comfort, and the versatility to do it all and do it right. Visit your local Kubota dealer today. Go to KubotaUSA.com for full disclaimer.
Visit Coastal Equipment in Jacksonville and McClenny to reach your North Florida Kubota Superstore.
If you're ready to sell your gold, silver, or diamonds, then go to a name you can trust. Monahan Jewelers has been Jacksonville's top gold buyer for 45 years. Relax in our elegant atmosphere as Monahan's expert staff pays you top dollar for your gold, silver, diamonds, and coins. If you need cash for bills, something fun, or want to trade your old jewelry for a great new piece, people have confidence in Jacksonville's top gold buyer, Monahan Jewelers in Atlantic Beach. So to sell your gold, check us out at monahanjewelry.com or call us at 246-GOLD.
Estate cleanouts, hoarding cleanouts, old appliances, and even tools. There are tons of reasons why you or someone you know may need expert help clearing space. J-Dog Junk Removal will responsibly help you free up space. That means when they leave your place, it looks better. Whether it's you or a loved one that needs one type of clean out at your home, trust the veterans at J-Dog Junk Removal. Veteran owned and operated. Call 844-GET-JDOG or visit jdog.com.
Hey, Royal Pest Services here. Have mercy, the heat and afternoon thunderstorms are here. With that, we get the skeeters, or for the transplants, mosquitoes. At Royal, we offer a monthly, bi-weekly, or one-time mosquito suppression service. The treatment process offers up to a 95% knockdown on all mosquito activity. So let Royal help you enjoy that backyard oasis this summer. Visit RoyalPestServices.com to schedule a free estimate.
He's the quarterback whisperer.
You can do this?
Teddy Thompson joins the drill Friday mornings in the 8 o'clock hour to talk QBs.
This man right here does whatever it takes.
Brought to you by Honest Abe Roofing, the reliable roofer on 1010XL. This 1010XL 92.5 FM hour is powered by Anajar and Levine Accident Attorneys. Call 904-600-4000. That's 904-600-4000. Hacker After Dark on 1010XL. Now,
hello.
Another great guest on the Farah and Farah phone line. Brought to you by the Accident Attorneys at Farah and Farah.
Back here on 1010XL and 92.5 FM in the city of Jacksonville. We are glad you are with us. Training camp for the Jacksonville Jaguars. If you can believe it, they report on the 24th. They are on the field on the 25th, about a week away from the Jaguars practicing. And, of course, the Hall of Fame game in Canton, Ohio, approaching very rapidly on Thursday night, August the 4th. Let's go to Aaron Wilson, my friend from Pro Football Network, does a terrific job covering the NFL and has done so for many, many years. Aaron, thank you for the time, man. How are you?
I'm doing great. Thank you for having me.
Hey, Aaron, always appreciate the time with you. And, boy, before we talk about the Jaguars and certainly the AFC South, I know you're based out in Houston. Just a quick thought, Aaron, on the offseason that was, man. I mean, we had a couple of weeks there where Pro Bowlers, Hall of Fame candidates were basically switching back and forth between teams. It was crazy. Now that all the dust has settled, what do you think the 2 or 3 biggest moves of the offseason were in the NFL?
Deshaun Watson being traded to the Cleveland Browns. I look at that move as significant, and we'll see what happens with Deshaun, and he gets one from the NFL. But you look at that move, that was franchise changing for the Texans because of the draft capital they acquired, and then for the Browns to go from Baker Mayfield to Deshaun is incredible if he's allowed to play any of the season, and we're still awaiting that decision. Then you look at other things like Devontae Adams going to the Raiders. Now that probably seems like ancient history at this point because the offseason has been so crazy, but that move is huge. I look at that as a really, really, really big deal. And then, some moves that I think maybe fly under the radar a little bit, but it's the moves that you want to see if you're the Rams and, being able to get Cooper Kupp a new deal, being able to get Aaron Donald a new deal, just keeping their core together. I think those are all significant. And, I think Allen Robinson wound up being a good signing for them. But, you look around the NFL, there was a lot of seismic change. Matt Ryan, no longer a Falcon. He's the Colts guy. And maybe he's a better version of Phillip Rivers, which they had a few years ago as a bridge quarterback and then later the Carson Wentz, experiment was a colossal failure, and he gets a restart in Washington. So, looking around the NFL, you think about all these things that have happened, and you look at, the off season, and the Jaguars, they made some significant moves too, probably overpaying a bit for Christian Kirk, but, getting some talent at the receiver position to work with Trevor Lawrence and making a big upgrade, in my opinion, at the head coaching position. That's sort of mastering the obvious there that Doug Peterson will run a better ship than Urban Meyer, which is an utter disaster in so many ways. We don't have enough time probably today to get into all of that, but yeah, it was so bad. And now you think about where the league stands. There's a chance, I think, for a really exciting season because you do have a lot of storylines. That's what, as writers, we like because, okay, well, this is new. It's not the same old, same old. Jacksonville, in some ways, they have, some interesting things because, they still have Trent Baalke as general manager. They have a new head coach again, and they got Trevor Lawrence at quarterback. And they, have the top pick, and we'll see, how does Trayvon Walker do, and he's a great athlete. But yeah, a lot has happened. I mean, the Jaguars have been involved in a lot of change as well, even though some of it's still the same.
Aaron Wilson, ProFootballNetwork.com. Aaron, you and I talked back around the time the Jaguars hired Doug Peterson, and that was before free agency and before the draft. Real quick, now that it's, 5 months, 6 months since the hiring, you mentioned Doug Peterson a little earlier. What do you think he could mean for Trevor Lawrence to, A, erase the nonsense of last year, and B, help Trevor move forward in this league?
I think he can significantly help him. Doug is a former quarterback. Doug has worked with different quarterbacks. I think he'll be a real stabilizing influence. He'll be a teacher. I think that he will have a good relationship, which is obviously very important, that kind of internal dynamic and how they interact on Sundays. Doug's been there and done that. And I think most of the industry will tell you, Doug is a good person. That's very important. That, there's not going to be, a lot of questions about, well, how does he treat people? You didn't hear that with Trevor, but I think for Trevor, and he's never really come out and said this so much that I'm aware of, when maybe staff and teammates aren't being treated well, I think that affects him because he's a leader. He's a good guy. And, so if it feels chaotic and you're just trying to get your feet wet in the NFL, that affects things. It also affected that he was pressured so much. He wasn't sacked a ton, but, he was pressured quite a bit. I think he was tied for 6th in the league for most pressures, according to the next gen stats. So, he wasn't super comfortable setting up. And I thought sometimes he was just really late in making a decision because that's what a lot of young quarterbacks do. They hold the football too long. And I think Doug will try his best to coach him to play faster, play more confidently. And I would think with Trevor's skill and arm talent, that leads to improvement. And yeah, he was outplayed by guys drafted after him, the guys that he's more talented than, like Mac Jones and Davis Mills. But, we're a production league, right? So did those guys play better than him? Yes, they did. They did. And they played better than other guys like Zach Wilson, who I'm very concerned about, that whether he's going to, become a good quarterback or not. But, Trevor, I'm not as worried about. Trevor, I think he's going to at least be solid this year. Let's I don't want to put the cart before the horse on what his improvement will be like, but let's say I think solid. I think people will be saying and writing and being honest and truthful when they say, hey, Trevor Lawrence made some strides. And he'll have a running game, and that's, I think, going to help him more than anything. That's going to be his best friend, having Travis Etienne, having a healthy James Robinson back, and they can run the football better. And he's got Christian Kirk. He's got a few things. I give him a fighting chance. I mean, I don't know how many games they're going to win. That's, probably not going to be as successful, but at least they'll have the quarterback, and they'll feel good about where he is.
Aaron Wilson, Pro Football Network, here with us on 1010XL and 92.5 FM. Aaron, I've never been uber positive guy. I think listeners here in Jacksonville would tell you that. I pretty much shoot you straight on the Jaguars, and some have accused me of being very negative. But I like to think I've been right. They've been awful for a very, very long time. Yet I look at what they're starting to put together, all right? They have 5 guys on this roster that caught at least 46 passes in the NFL last year. When you look at Zay Jones, Christian Kirk, Evan Ingram, Laviska Shenault, Marvin Jones. There's not a lot of teams that can say that. Now, I don't know what that means necessarily, but you do have 5 guys that were decent in the NFL last year. When you combine Travis Etienne coming back, when you combine, hopefully, James Robinson being 100% off the Achilles. I didn't even mention a guy like Dan Arnold who looked pretty good before he got hurt. with a 2 tight end set potentially of Arnold and Ingram, could that be the Doug Peterson Jacksonville version of what he had in Philly with Zach Ertz and Dallas Goedert? As much criticism as Trent Baalke has got here in Jacksonville, Aaron, I see what they're doing, and I'm starting to like it a little bit. I think, like you said, a year or two away, but you can kind of see the foundation being put together here.
Right. Yeah. I mean, this is a town that obviously they don't have a lot of credibility with in terms of being able to honestly say, oh, yeah, we're going to win. Shad Khan has had one winning season since he bought the team in 2012, and they have won 4 games in the past 2 years. So they don't do a lot of winning, and, they've kind of got 1 foot or maybe more than 1 foot in England, and I don't think they'll ever move. And, for a lot of reasons. But you think about where they are, I still think that they're on the right track because they've added some good players and they're going to be healthier. But I couldn't tell you that, they're definitely going to overtake the Texans for 3rd place in the division. I'm not confident saying that yet. And a lot of that will hinge on a lot of these free agency spending that they did. I mean, they spent a ton of money. They had to overpay. It was almost like they were paying like kind of a Jacksonville tax. Okay, you want to come here? All right, we'll pay you a lot. I mean, $155.25 million total guaranteed money for the first 7 free agents they signed. And those guys will help. But and budget, whatever, salary cap is all manageable, but still spent a lot of money. And it is questionable whether Christian Kirk is the number one. Is he really that guy? I think that remains to be seen. And it's just interesting to me because clearly the pressure is on, and I think the pressure will not be on Doug or Trevor, it's on Trent. And if these moves don't pan out and they're not feeling very good, or if there's any dynamic where Doug and Trent aren't good, then I think Shad's going to pick Doug on the next thing. And it'll be interesting to see how they handle things. Or do they go with stability? And, I heard one of the reasons that Trent was able to stay is because he had built a good relationship with the Khan family, and they felt comfortable with him, despite a lot of people not wanting to work with Trent in the football community. But they've done a decent job this offseason. I think most of the picks they've made have made sense, and we're going to see how it looks. But victories, probably not the best way to measure the progress. It's going to be some intangibles and just, if they're getting positive performances from some key people, like some of the ones we've been talking about here today. And if they don't get to that point, then, they'll have to consider things. But I don't think they're, awful. They're not a laughing stock right now, in my opinion.
Final moments here with Aaron Wilson of Pro Football Network. We talk about Christian Kirk and Zay Jones. Evan Ingram, to me, Aaron, is the interesting one. It's a 1-year prove-it deal for a former first-rounder. I just saw that he got engaged, so he's obviously growing up, not only in football but in life. He got out of, apparently it was a bad environment for him in New York. The fan base kind of ridiculed him every single time. What did you think of the Evan Ingram signing, and do you think that could be maybe a diamond in the rough here in Jacksonville?
I think he's definitely has something to prove, and I do think that there have been some questions in the past about his focus and his consistency, dedication, all of those things. But it does seem like he's getting to a point now where he's taking his career pretty seriously and knows that he has a lot to prove. When you sign a 1-year contract, the team is saying we're not completely sold on you. We're giving this a chance, and we'll see what we get out of you. And if it's good, then, we'll try to resurrect your career. And if not, then we'll move on. And so a lot of this is on Evan. And, he's going to be given targets and opportunities and chances to shine. And it's what he does with it. So, it's tough. I think, I always try to think, put yourself in that person's shoes. So what's it like to be Evan Ingram? Well, he's in a new city. It is the smaller, and this isn't any commentary on the Jacksonville market, because there can be tough commentary and tough questions and very fair and good reporting. but there's just less of the reporters. New York, there's a volume, and it's there's a certain intensity of that city and New Jersey that I think you can kind of read in the coverage and the videos and all those things and the questions and everything that goes with that. New York is a different kind of place to play, and maybe that's not the best place for Evan. But maybe Jacksonville, smaller market, team with lower expectations, maybe he'll thrive. If he can't, I mean, there's something wrong with him probably, then he's just him. But sometimes a change of scenery can help, and that's what the Jaguars and Evan are banking on. And, yeah, I think this has the chance to work.
Aaron, as we say goodbye, we got about 90 seconds left, so a quick thought. The division as a whole, is it Indianapolis's division clearly? Some people believe Tennessee's window is starting to shut a little bit, their window of opportunity. How do you see the division this year?
I still think the Titans are the best team because of Derrick Henry, and I think Ryan Tannehill will play better this year. I look at some of the acquisitions they've made. I think that they'll be better at receiver. I look at their defense, and a full season out of Zach Cunningham should be elite as a run stopper. And Jeffrey Simmons, who's going to get a gigantic contract in the next year or so, he's going to continue to dominate. And they've got some good players back there in the secondary, like Kevin Byard. I think they're good enough. Harold Landry's very good. Their pass rusher. I think that they're going to be better than the Colts. And Jonathan Taylor will need to run for 2,000 yards for them to really be very competitive, in my opinion, as far as unseating the Titans. And then the Texans, to me, are the third best. And I watch them a lot, and I think they've made some good picks. I think Rick Caserio's doing a slow, kind of logical rebuild, and they're not swinging for the fences just yet. These moves are sort of logical moves where a lot of things have to go right for them to approach, 5, 6, 7 wins. And Marlon Mack would have to have a fully healthy season and play very well. I mean, there are a lot of things that would have to go right, and they'd have to get a lot of pass rush out of Jerry Hughes and some of these older pass rushers they signed to go with John Grenard. That's why I still see the division, though, 1, 2, 3, 4, with it being Titans, Colts, Texans, Jaguars.
Aaron Wilson from Pro Football Network, always kind enough to join us here on 1010XL in Jacksonville. Aaron, rest up, man. It's about to get really busy for guys like you as training camp opens all throughout the National Football League in the next week or two. We certainly appreciate it. Hopefully we can do it one more time before opening day, my friend. Thank you for joining us.
Okay, yeah, thanks, Ryan. That'd be great.
Well, there you go. Thank you to Aaron Wilson, Pro Football Network, for always joining us here on Hacker After Dark on 1010XL and 92.5 FM. It's interesting. We've talked to, dozens at this point, former players that are in the media guys that have covered the NFL for many, many years, some a little higher on what the Jaguars did in the offseason, some not so high. I think a guy like Aaron probably not as high as some others. It'll be very interesting to see with all the money that they spent this offseason in free agency, with the draft picks that were made, the hiring of Doug Peterson. And again, we're going to start seeing it as the Jaguars report at training camp on Sunday. Their first practice will be next Monday, and the Hall of Fame game against the Las Vegas Raiders 2 weeks from Thursday, if you can believe that, August the 4th. That'll just about put a wrap on what has been a fun-filled Tuesday night show here on Hacker After Dark. This is what we had for you. Clay Harbor, former Jaguar tight end. Love talking football with Clay Harbor. Spent 9 years in the National Football League, some of those years right here in Jacksonville. Always love his perspective, too, because he played with Doug Peterson, or for Doug Peterson, when Peterson was an assistant in Philadelphia. Also spent time on the rosters that were coached by Jim Bob Cooter and Mike Caldwell. So Clay Harbor knows an awful lot about this Jaguar coaching staff. Always appreciate his time. Mia O'Brien of XL Primetime up at SEC Media Days. And the Book of Bo, Episode 2, drops this Friday morning at 9 a.m. And again, thank you to Aaron Wilson of Pro Football Network. We will be back on a Wednesday night. Should be an action-packed show tomorrow night, as both Florida and Georgia will be in Atlanta for SEC Media Days. And that'll be a heck of a lot of fun to hear from Billy Napier, Kirby Smart, Stetson Bennett, Anthony Richardson, on down the line. And, Frangie and Matt and Mia will get all the interviews they can with both the representatives from Florida and the University of Georgia. So we hope you join us on a Wednesday night for Hacker After Dark. Dylan Denmark was your producer as always. Dylan, great job as always. I'm the Hacker Ryan Green. And Jacksonville, thank you for spending part of your late night with us here on Hacker After Dark on 1010XL and 92.5 FM. So for all of us on HAD, have a terrific, late Tuesday night, early Wednesday morning, and we will talk to you at 8 o'clock on a Wednesday, and we'll do it all over again. So until then, good night, Jacksonville.
Dan Hicken.
Doggone it, I'm one of the most beloved grassroots folk heroes of America.
Mornings.
Little kids love me, parents love me, everybody loves me. Now you come on out here and love me or I'm going to kick your little...
On 1010XL.
I'm telling you, people love me.
Hey there, my taco-loving sports fans. Don here from Taco Lou in Jax Beach. It's Tuesday, and to many of you, that means one thing, tacos. At Taco Lou, we feel like every day is Taco Tuesday, except Monday, which is what makes Tuesday special for us, too. We're back, you've been patient, and now it's time to dig in, crush some tacos, and wash it all down with a cold Dos Equis. Or sip a fantastic margarita while you grind. Come in and see what's new at Taco Lou. Taco Lou in Jax Beach.
Ladies, are you interested in golf but not sure where to start? Well, golf needs a little refreshment, and we believe the answer is female. You are invited to be part of LEGS, the Lady Executive Golf Society, a place for business for women of all levels to come together in an exclusive environment to learn about golf, grow their businesses, laugh, and improve your game. Join us for our signature events, where you choose 9 and Wine or a group lesson every first and third Wednesday of each month, where we can grow and learn together. Go to ladiesexecutivegolfsociety.com.
Blackout colon cancer. Hicken here for the Borland Groover Foundation. If you're 45 or older, the ball is in your court to get screened. The key to surviving colon cancer, early detection and prevention. 45 is the new 50. Protect your end zone and get screened for colon cancer now. The Borland Groover Foundation is a nonprofit organization devoted to helping the community and save lives. Visit BorlandGrooverFoundation.com for more.
If you've been involved in a car accident and are not sure of your legal options, call the law offices of Anajar and Levine at 904-600-4000. That's 904-600-4000 and take back control of your life.
Office in Jacksonville.
Registration is now open for the 1-to-1 Greater Jacksonville Kingfish Tournament. Over $300,000 in cash and prizes available, to include first place fish winning a Contender 25 with twin Yamahas. Tournament payouts up to 20 places large and 20 places aggregate.